Welcome to another CEO Wisdom podcast with Ari Fox. Today, he is CEO at Gameacon, and yeah, we're gonna talk about casinos, esports, and everything in between, and conferences. Really glad to have him on. Gamification as well as a fun one, and possibly some AI as well. So this podcast brought to you by podfire.com. If you want to start scale, be invited to a podcast, or even find sponsors, my podcasting agency can help you with that. We help people start pods so that they can learn more, they can meet new people, can get leads, build their communities, and even get clients. So podbuyer.com for that. Ari, welcome to the pod. Can you tell me a bit more about yourself and Gameacon?
Well, first, thanks for having me, Charles. I appreciate the time you take to interview me. Gameacon started in 2013, around that time, 2013, 2015, as a video gaming conference. It was created out of the need of my personal habit, because I'm a gamer, but I've played a long time in video gaming for many, many years. And there was a need for the casinos because they were coming out of I have my background's in the casino business. I was doing marketing since 1997, early 2000s. I was doing different types of outer market marketing for a particular location in New Jersey called Atlantic City. And after the recession that hit the United States, they needed more people to come into their places. So I had created a software program for some of the work I was doing in the outer marketing stuff for them. And the people I was working with were video gamers themselves, and they built games and things, and they were developers. So we created Gameacon, which is a convention that is similar to Comic-Con, has also the same kind of ring in it of Gameacon. So actually it's game, Game, A as in Apple, CON. So the A in the middle stands for the artistry behind the game development. So we had these conventions, and the casinos wanted people inside the doors of the brick and mortar places. So they worked with us in building this casino and this convention in Atlantic City. And then what ended up happening was it took off on its own. We started doing them in varying locations. We did one in Las Vegas. We've done a couple in California. So, and mainly at casino venues. We are recently trying to build the Gameacon brand outside of the casino venue now. So I'm talking to some people that are local to where I live at convention centers and stuff like that, just to have it as a straight thing without the casinos involved. But I do, because I started in that world where I was branching the two industries, the casinos were very interested in what I was doing. So as a sort of a branch off from that, we created the Casino Esports Conference, which is to help the casino industry build and develop video gaming experiences, video gaming culture, and esports culture within the casino umbrella.
How much attendees, how much expositioners are there at this conference?
So the Gameacon conference, the largest one we ever had was 5,000 people. And that was in 2018. And then, COVID came, and we had a hard time getting more people. But in 2021, we had another one in California where we had about 2,500 people. So those are more for the commercial customer. So the customer will come in, they buy tickets online. They then will go on our floor, our exhibit floor, and they can play indie games. Indie games are independent games that no one's ever seen before or played before, and they can go and play those games. We also have esport tournaments, and we have influencers. We have a Gameacon Crystal Awards, where we award the indie games for best characters, best graphics, best music, best storyline, etc., things like that. Very much like Sundance Film Festival. And we have, musical entertainment, we have bands, we have all kinds of things. It's a big, full-fledged conference, convention that people come and enjoy and have a great time at. The other events that we've done, the Casino Esport Conference, which is a business-to-business conference exclusively catering to the casino and the esports and video gaming industries. We had our largest one in 2021 or 2022, right after the pandemic. It was about 500 people. So, but it's more, it's more like people who are looking to build their casino offering to try to get a younger demographic.
The ethics part of it in gaming, there's a lot of gaming addiction, whether we're talking about innocent video games, then that usually leads to porn addiction and drug addiction. It's a nice gateway, to say the least. How do you deal with that? And then the real gambling addiction, when we see these folks that ruin themselves financially in those casinos, how do you talk about that at the conference, and how do you prevent that? And where do you set the ethical boundary? Actually, is a better question.
Well, first of all, when we start the Gameacon events, one of the reasons why I'm going to start focusing more on doing them in general communities in convention centers rather than at casinos themselves is because I think it's better to build the community outside the casino. The older people that come, 21 to 35-year-olds, if they want to start playing peer-to-peer wagering, or they want to bet on esport tournaments or things like that, I can have that at my community events for a 21 and older crowd. And then when we get those 21 and older crowds interested in playing video games or peer-to-peer wagering on iGaming or online casino websites or inside the brick and mortar, there are specific laws that certain states, for example, the state of New Jersey, if you are betting on esports, they will cap your betting at $500 a month. So if you're betting on esports and you've bet $500, that's it. You can't bet anymore. You have to wait for a month to go back and play or bet on certain esports wagering. That is to prevent people from losing their shirts, because at the end of the day, the video gaming industry and the industry as a whole needs to be much more transparent. The culture of video gaming people, the people who are involved in create the community aspect of video gaming and esport competition, are much more sensitive to the fact that there's this huge 60-year-old industry called the casino industry. And, it all started from the mafia in Las Vegas, and how they would literally just shake people down for money. Has that culture, their culture, not the video gaming culture, has the casino corporate culture changed in any way? No, not really. The only difference today is it's run by corporate greed rather than mafia greed. And there is a stigma, or a sort of this, that is the stigma that the casino industry has to get over. At the end of the day, they're there to offer entertainment, right? But you don't want people to go and then not have a good experience. So there are certain laws when it comes to video gaming and esports of what I just spoke about. And then there are people within the casino industry that understand this younger demographic and understand the sensitivities behind them, and also understand that they want them to have a good time, but they don't want them to leave crying and thinking, I just spent all my money and I don't have anything to buy food with. We don't want that. We don't want that. If I talk about the casino world and the video gaming world and the two worlds coming together, we want the person to have a good time. We don't want them to feel like they've been fleeced, so to speak.
And what amount of good time is too much of a good time? Because I was addicted to World of Warcraft as a kid. I was addicted to Call of Duty, and I'd spend basically my core life on these video games platform. I think I've learned something out of it, or I like to tell myself that I learned something out of it, and I think I pivoted well, and I ended up well. I think a bunch of kids, they never like get off video games. And do they have like a net positive effects on society? Is it like an outlet to let your stress out? Or for example, me, I sold my Switch not so long ago. When I would play, I would get this adrenaline when I play Rocket League, and I wouldn't sleep well. My heart starts pounding fast and so forth. It's a lot of quick reaction time and so forth. So is there like a net beneficial effect to video games in society?
Well, it's been proven in scientific studies, for example, of actual military soldiers that have come back from war, and have had PTSD, that they can play out certain scenarios in Call of Duty kind of a platform and actually get some kind of psychological satisfaction, and that actually brings down their adrenaline and aggression in the real world because they can play it inside of the game. In regard to what you're talking about from the publisher standpoint, it's an interesting dichotomy, because when you have the video gaming world, you have the esports world, there is a push currently where there is colleges now offering scholarships for people to play and turning the entire experience of being a video gaming addict into a positive thing. Well, you must be an athlete. You're a sports person. Let's put you into a competitive environment where you can do good for it. We have a team of Rocket League. You love playing Rocket League, so you're going to give you a scholarship to come to our college, and you can then play on our Rocket League team or play on our Super Smash Brothers team. What have you in these particular cases? Yes, there's definitely been proven that there is a video gaming addiction. But couldn't you say the same thing for somebody who was addicted to playing baseball, was addicted to being a fighter, was addicted to playing football, soccer, or any other athletic sport where their adrenaline was pumped, a rock climber, where they could put their literal bodies in jeopardy of actually killing themselves. I mean, if you're in a video game, I mean, yeah, there's addictions, and there should be. I can't speak on behalf of the publisher side of things. When it comes to skins, when it comes to weapons, when it comes to all of that, there should be caps. There should be ways that they can protect the consumer, especially younger ones that are 18 or younger, from purchasing so many skins, from the whole debacle of people auctioning skins, the whole crypto problem and the NFT issues that were years ago, a couple of years ago that we know of, where people were using black markets to sell NFTs and skins and things like that in the gambling, in the gaming, in video gaming world. But you have to understand, at the end of the day, we're talking about corporate greed. There's corporate greed on both sides, on the video gaming side, on the esports side, and on the gambling side, running by fat cats that this can't be sustained any longer. And we all understand it. Everybody that plays video games understands it. Everyone that is a Gen Z or millennial understands that there are these people at the very top of the food chain that are making money, illicit amounts of money, off of the people who are then becoming, as you said, an addicted or an addict. And that has to change.
It does. I want to ask you about what you've seen lately in the industry in terms of innovations. We've seen esports leagues. We've seen AR taking stuff to the next level. Racing drones is pretty fun. Also, there's a bunch of these new competitions, and my thesis is that esport will even take over real sports pretty soon, in the next 20 years, in my opinion, because they're so exciting. They're more control board. They're more streamable. And yes, they're less real, but there's more control on the wild factor and all the elements, the features you can add on the watcher side. That's why we've seen Twitch explode. So what is your thesis on that? Is it aligned with that one? And what types of innovation and new stuff we've been seeing in the gaming industry lately?
Well, I think overall, you have augmented reality, as you were saying, and virtual reality, and I think that the physical and the actual play on a console may change. I think you'll always have those esport people that'll play with a controller or on a PC on a keyboard, but you'll also have the people who move into the physical and visual realm. So you'll have virtual reality competitions where people have to move their bodies as well as using their visual their hand-eye coordination. That will definitely change, and that will become something bigger. Augmented reality, the same with the augmented reality glasses, we'll see that change as well. And yes, will video gaming and esports become bigger? Yes, it's definitely going to become bigger. It's definitely going to become more popular. I cannot tell you. There's probably a very limited amount of people, from the Gen Z millennial or the generation before Gen Z that wants to sit through a baseball game. Baseball is actually adapting to them except for them, as they are not adapting to baseball. Like, so they're like, okay, the pitcher now has like only 10 seconds to throw the next pitch, and the batter can't be outside the batter box for more than 3 seconds. It has to be in the batter. All this stuff to move the game faster, but it's still 3 hours, and no young person wants to sit through that. It's boring. So we are at a crossroads where I believe the traditional sports will lose more and more people to the electronic competition, and it's just a fact. And I think that's just going to keep growing. It's just going to keep getting bigger. Unfortunately, I think that too few people hold the reins on the rules and regulations, and that's the publishers of these games. Companies like Blizzard, Activision, Valve, Riot. There are some are better than others. I think Blizzard, Activision has had their issues. I believe that they're also sort of like been driven by greed in a lot of ways. I think Epic just laid off about 16% of their staff. So there's still greed in these places. There's still this darkness of like, and I'm not saying that like CEOs and the people running at the very top shouldn't make a lot of money. They should. But like, if you look at what's going on in the United States regarding the car manufacturing, the CEOs are making 400 times more than the workers. Is it right that game developers that create modifications for Call of Duty or modifications for GTA or any of these other games are making X amount of money while the CEOs are making 200 times maybe the amount that the actual developers is making? There needs to be some kind of reckoning there, and I think that that's an issue.
Well, is the CEO delivering 200 times the value of an employee, and are they working 200 times as hard? Is a question I'd ask in return to that.
Can you even quantify that? I mean, because can anyone work 200 times more than someone else who's working very hard and trying to meet deadlines? Not in
quantity, but like in, yeah, the hardness, we can forget about that one. But in terms of ROI, I do think a CEO can easily 200x outperform a normal employee. It's hard to calculate indeed, but
let's put it simply. Any of those CEOs that are publicly traded companies are answering to one body of people, and that's the board members and the stockholders. So if they, their whole job is to make sure that everything looks nice, even though it may not be. And when they hear a murmur or a problem underneath them, what do you get as a result? Well, you get 16% of your staff fired, or they let go, because they won't put up with that. They won't put up with people who are dissatisfied with the amount of money that they're making or how hard they're working. I know game developers because that's what Gameacon's about. It's about game development. So we start at the grassroots creative side of it and how hard those people work. Hours and hours and hours, all-nighters trying to perfect the programming, trying to find the problems with the particular glitches and issues. Do you see CEOs doing any of that? No. I mean, that's the work that needs to be done. If it weren't for them, there wouldn't be any video gaming. It's just like the writer's strike that happened in Hollywood. Without the writers, where would the entertainment business be?
I mean, that's a part of the past. I think AI can outright them. The 0.1% now will never be outperformed. It's the same analogy with SEO. When I say 200 times, I consider a CEO to be a 0.1%, by definition, 1,000 times more performer than someone normal, whether that's the hours they work, the hardness at work, the energy that their energy output, which is also somewhat tough to control because that can be genes, that can be biohacking as well, but also their IQ and how smart they work. So I think that a lot of these CEOs, they do deserve that. And as long as they're transparent and they have the numbers to back it up, I understand that in a bunch of cases, they don't have that. It's just like, hey, that's what I'm supposed to have and pay me my jet.
But you know what? How much more would I be motivated as an employee to understand that if the guy who is leading the company paid me fairly, had respect for me, understood where I was coming from, appreciated the work that I did, I wouldn't mind if he was making what he was making because he had to make that. If he makes more than me, that's all the best, because if he's working harder, he's got to do all these things and he's running around. I get it. I'm not saying that shouldn't be, but the disparity, the difference between, how much a CEO is making, how much of the worker is being paid, that delineation, that separation from those two situations is too vast at this point.
Yeah, well, I think the system builds us to be great 9-to-5ers from the school, right? Get good grades, be in a box, stand in your lane. And that's why most humans end up in a 9-to-5. Even if you're a game developer, the moment you sign a contract, you sell a part of your soul for peace of mind, for a salary. So most people don't understand that. That's why I think that most people in 10 years from now will be entrepreneurs or freelancers and will have AIs to work for them. Because my opinion on the 9-to-5 is that it's broken. The whole employee-employer model is broken, and I think AI is coming to save that, because a lot of people, they take advantage of their employer, and vice versa. A lot of people, they get taken advantage of by their employers. So I think it's mostly win-lose. I don't think it's win-win. I've had 1,000 employees that I managed over the past years, and what they care about is their check. They don't give a shit about their return or not.
And absolutely, because at the end of the day, they have bills to pay and they have to worry about what they have to put food on the table as well.
Yeah, but if they perform and that pays my company, then they can get that cash.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You make money, they make money. It makes sense. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't have anything against capitalism. I'm a capitalist at heart. But the point being is, my event, for example, Gameacon, I'm sort of switching out. I've reached out to over, I've gotten about 166 people that have written into me that want to help build Gameacon as a community-driven event. So do I believe that if I asked 6 of those people and I picked out 6 out of those random people, you do the marketing, you do this, you do that, do I expect that they're going to actually do it? No, probably not. I don't think that you can rely on any one person to make the things that you want to happen. The way you have to make it happen is, if that person can't do the job, you go find somebody else, right? And you, as a leader of those people, have to get that money out of them. That's your job as the leader, is that you have to make those people perform for you. So you want to make money for your company at the end of the day. If you can inspire those people to feel the same way you do, to make money for the company as a collective, and they're going to get paid at a decent rate, then why wouldn't they do it?
Yeah, I'm a strong believer in the community model, but my retort to that is an AI can do that for me, and I don't need to motivate it, and I don't need to go through it up and down. As a 0.1%er, I expect similar level of performances. So nowadays I'm not hiring. I don't believe in that model anymore. I do believe in the community model. I do believe in the partnership model. So taking 0.1 percenters or people that want to get there, right, and are extremely motivated, just like myself when I was 19 years old, super ambitious kid, and willing to sacrifice a big part of myself to make it out there. And that's what brought me today. I'm willing to take partners, for example, that have these values, have the same dedication, most importantly, have skin in the game, right? They have shares of my company, or we profit share. I give you 50%, I take the other 50. I think this is way more where the future is going, because I've tried the pitch and influencing people. People are really hard to change, and once
Yeah.
you have like 20 to 100 of these employees, yeah, it becomes really hard. I do understand their motivation though, and I do understand that not everyone's good at changing and changing their mindset and getting out of their comfort zone, but I'll be helping that in other ways, especially when I can have my business thrive. But I get what you're saying, and really bullish on the community model. That is a powerful one, because community most of the time is not really for money. It's for love, it's for passion, it's for that's how humanity grew. We were hunting together, we're cooking together, eating around the fire together. I'm super bullish on communities.
No, exactly. That's the way, and that's what we're trying to do with Gameacon at the moment. So, but the other side of it is what you're saying about AI. I have to agree with you with AI. I believe that you can utilize AI in many ways, and you can allow that to actually work for you. But you can't send an AI program out to a conference and have it stand at your booth and shake hands and meet people and network. It's a little different. I think that unless we start creating androids that are AI driven, that their only process is to meet new people and to try to get them to join or help you in some way, or utilize your business or close a deal or make a sale. So there is absolutely a utilization for AI, and perhaps some of these bigger companies, like the auto manufacturers, like the game developers, the big ones, the publishers, are going to turn to AI for their creative ability, for its story writing, for all of that. I know that some game developers themselves, individual game developers, have actually put in the criteria that they wanted from a game, put it into AI, and the AI came out with the whole game, told them exactly what kind of game that, it spit back exactly what they were looking for, programming and all. So it's there, and I understand that. But at the end of the day, it's like, there has to be someone that's going to go out there and then sell the game to the rest of the masses. It could be a robot. I mean, I don't have a problem with a robot doing it, but because you don't have to feed a robot, you don't have to tell a robot, hey, I'm going to get you a room for the night at a hotel because of this conference. So it makes perfect sense, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, we're not. Droids will take longer than agents. Agents, I think we're already there when it comes to deploying a virtual employee. So my business has been virtual since day one. So can definitely see that. But yeah, conferences are cool because it's physical human touch. There's still like science we don't understand about meeting someone physically, the emotions, the chemicals, and all of that. So there's value in that. Plus, post-COVID, a lot of people want to actually physically meet people. So that's super cool. Where can people find out more about you, Ari?
They can go to gameacon.com, GAMEACON.com, or go on my other website at CECLIVE.com.
And that was another founder, wisdompodcast.com with Charles Cormier and Ari Fox.